Hello and welcome back to another All Sports Now YouTube video. My name is Cory, and if you're new here, first, thanks for clicking on the video. Second, make sure you subscribe, because if you subscribe to us, you're going to be getting at least a couple of videos every single week. It's high quality content, it's objective, non-biased content, and it is entertaining, I promise you. We have a podcast every single Monday as well. Make sure you check that out. Make sure you check out all of our social medias. The links are in the description. But now to this video. My goodness. I was going to make this a while ago. I kind of took my foot off the gas pedal. I was thinking about it, and then I saw a particular game a couple of days before this recording, and I had to send it. So without further ado, let's get this thing started so we can all figure out what team I'm talking about. The NFL team that I'm talking about that I honestly don't think could win another game this year is the Denver Broncos. This team started out 3-0. A lot of people were jumping on the hype train. Look, they beat three really bad teams, including the Jets. Any win against them should really be checked upon because you should beat the Jets. They're an organization that's even more in shambles than this one. And since then, they have fallen to 4 straight teams. I was debating on making this video because I wasn't really sure how bad the Broncos were until I saw them play against the Cleveland practice squad last Thursday. I picked the Denver Broncos to win this game despite picking them to lose the last 3 games because Cleveland was so battered. Cleveland was missing Baker Mayfield at quarterback, Kareem Hunt at running back, Nick Chubb at running back, David Njoku was banged up at tight end, Odell Beckham Jr. was questionable coming into the game, his reps were supposed to be limited, Jarvis Landry was just coming off of the IR, Jadeveon Clowney was questionable coming into the game. They were all so banged up. It just didn't seem likely for Cleveland to be able to pull this one out, and I thought surely a relatively healthy team, with the exception of Jerry Jeudy, should be able to take care of business. Boy, was I wrong. This Broncos team got down early, and it forced the offense to claw their way back, and they were only able to put up 14 points against this Cleveland Browns defense. That wasn't where I had the issue. I actually expected the Broncos defense to really be able to hold Cleveland, but throughout the year, the issue has been this Broncos offense. Sure, they won their first 3 games, but since then, what has happened? They've gotten behind early. The defense has slipped up. That secondary is amazing. I've been bragging about them all throughout the offseason, especially with the recent acquisition of Kyle Fuller. He's in there with Justin Simmons at safety. They've got Patrick Surtain out of the draft. He looks amazing. We obviously all know what Von Miller and Bradley Chubb can do at the linebacker positions. But nonetheless, they're 3-4 now. Why? Because that secondary, first off, although I named a bunch of talented names, is having trouble communicating. They're getting down early, and then they're figuring things out and holding teams at bay. But the problem with getting down early is this is not an offense that is built to claw their way back, that is built to come from behind, that is built to rely on the pass. They're supposed to be ground and pound. They have to build off of the play action by utilizing Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, that great two-way running back system out of the backfield. And then you have your Noah Fant. Then you have your Courtland Sutton. Then you have Hinton, who has actually really stepped up this year. But when you're down 14, 17 points sometimes to quality teams that are not going to be giving up points left and right, like the first few teams they played that are really poor in almost every category, it's not going to be pretty. Vic Fangio is a defensive-minded coach. He was actually the defensive coordinator for the Chicago and that 2018 Bears team that was doing very well until Cody Parkey, well, you know what happened.
That's impossible.
But under Fangio, and honestly ever since Peyton Manning left Denver, this offense has not been able to get going. Teddy Bridgewater is a fine quarterback, but they're not able to put points together in bunches, and when you have them working from behind, it's not a good recipe. So let's look at their schedule, and if you saw the title of this video, you know what I'm going to claim here. I don't think that Denver can win another game. I think they have a huge potential to go 3-14. So let's just go down the line here. On Halloween, they'll be going up against Washington, the Washington football team. Their defense has not looked very good, so in terms of Denver being able to claw their way back, sure, that could happen. But Antonio Gibson's healthy again, at least at the time of this video, knock on wood. Terry McLaurin's been great. Taylor Heineke's holding the fort down. And they still have Montez Sweat and obviously Chase Young holding down the fort on defense. They just have to get back together, and they're slowly starting to look more productive. That defensive line establishing pressure is the biggest thing. If you can get a quarterback under pressure, you're going to force ill-advised throws, and that's going to be that. So I think that Washington can pull this off. All they have to really do is score 21 or 24 points from what we've seen out of this Denver Broncos team. They don't put up a lot of points themselves. If they get behind early to Washington, they're not clawing their way back. Okay, so now we have Dallas. Dallas is a different team this year. Dallas is a top 5, maybe even top 3 offense. They're just getting Michael Gallup back. Obviously, we've seen what CeeDee Lamb can do. Amari Cooper, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. Dak Prescott's having an amazing year. Ezekiel Elliott looks like he did in 2016, 2017. This team is doing amazing. The defense is not the best, but they're respectable. And honestly, that's all they have to be when their offense is putting up 30 to 40 points a game. Micah Parsons is looking very disruptive. Trayvon Diggs had 7 picks at the time of this video. It'll probably go up pretty soon because he's getting at least one every single week. He gets blown up in coverage here and there, but it doesn't matter because he's picking everybody off. Dallas is going to put up at least 30 points here, maybe more, and I don't think the Broncos are physically capable of doing that considering their current personnel situation. The Eagles. Okay, this is where a lot of people might go, here's where the Broncos can steal one. Are the Eagles really that bad? They're 2-4 at the time of this video. They're going into a game against Las Vegas. Jalen Hurts has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback. Is he one right now? No. The pieces need to be there around him. But Devontae Smith has looked really good, that rookie wide receiver out of Alabama. Despite all of the scoffs at his weight and that he's not going to be big enough for the NFL, he's an amazing route runner, and we've seen that put on display already. Dallas Goedert is coming back soon. Once he's healthy, he's one of the better tight ends in the league. Jalen Hurts is also running around. He's their leading rusher, despite the fact that they have Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts has over 300 rushing yards, and he's rather effective with it. Although I do think that he's a pocket passer, but that's a different video. He's able to use his legs when need be. They're doing a little more designed runs than I want to see, but it works sometimes. I think that this is another case of an offense that is going to be able to confuse this secondary. All they have to do is score early, and then if the Denver secondary figures it out later, it doesn't matter because this offense is not built to come from behind. Then they have a bye week, which they'll need because they have a rough schedule coming up. They're going up against the Chargers next, against an MVP candidate in Justin Herbert, who is having a phenomenal year. Austin Eckler has been one of the best two-way running backs, if not the best two-way running back this year so far. Williams has looked phenomenal. Keenan Allen has looked phenomenal. And the defense is locking down behind Derwin James. He's getting some help. Joey Bosa has been disruptive on the line. This has blowout potential. Los Angeles is honestly going to be the division winner in my opinion. So I don't think this will be close. Herbert will put up too many points. And once again, this offense cannot keep up. Then we have Kansas City. I don't know the last time they lost 3 games this early. You know they're going to be hungry. Patrick Mahomes is slowly getting back on the right track, and he hasn't been bad all year. He just makes 1 or 2 ill-advised throws a game, and now we have the 15 interceptions in the last 15 games stat. Oh well, I think he'll do just fine against the secondary. He sees them twice a year. Their running game is starting to get established. We'll see if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is back by then. Again, a high-flying offense that Denver will not be able to keep up with. And Kansas City's defense is horrible, so maybe Denver will score the most points they will this year. But anytime you get in a shootout against Kansas City, you better have a really good offense, and Denver clearly does not. The next game is against Detroit. This is the game that they should win. But I've been on the radio show over at 90.3 WRST FM Oshkosh, and I was asked, will Detroit go 0-17? I simply said they're not bad enough. They're going to get a couple of wins. I see this being one of those wins. I see Jared Goff operating out of the shotgun a lot. That way, the linebackers of Von Miller and Bradley Chubb and that disruptive D-line over in Denver cannot get to him. They have a good two-way running back system in DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. When both of them are healthy, this team is very dangerous. TJ Hawkinson's very disruptive. The only issue I have with Detroit is they don't have a whole lot of weapons other than the people out of the backfield and Hawkinson, who I just talked about. Quintez Cephas is all right. Other than that, it's a lot of rotations. No one has consistently been healthy. If they are healthy, I guess we'll learn a thing or two about Detroit. But I could see if Detroit can squeak out a touchdown or two early on, play that ground and pound game with a really good offensive line behind Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell, who are both having phenomenal years. Sewell out of Oregon, I love that guy. I could see them just running the ball to death. The secondary of the Broncos should be their strength, although they've struggled. But if you take them out of the game completely and just run it with that offensive line, Detroit can chew up time of possession, which I think they will start to do, especially considering they haven't won a game yet. I think they're going to resort to that plan. And then they'll use that phenomenal running game along with that really good offensive line to build the play action, get Jared Goff rolling out here or there, allow him to get his feet set behind that great offensive line and make some decent throws downfield. So I think Detroit steals this one. Then we have Cincinnati, the three-headed monster of Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd, with big boy Joe Burrow throwing to them. This could be another blowout because anytime I see a high-flying offense going up against a Denver Broncos team, I think, well, if they get into the 20s, it's over. And Cincinnati's defense, specifically their defensive line, along with Jesse Bates in the secondary, has been great as well. And although their secondary hasn't been phenomenal, I think they can man up a team like Denver. I think a lot of these teams can man up a team like Denver had their safeties camp deep, prevent the big play, force turnovers, and then do their thing on offense. And Cincinnati is one of the best teams at doing their thing on offense, considering all of their weapons. Now we have Las Vegas. Merry Christmas. It's the day after. I think Las Vegas, no matter who's at head coach or what's going on over there, again, has too many weapons. Derek Carr is still having a really good year. Henry Ruggs can put on the afterburners whenever he wants and run a streak. So if they try and press him, Denver, I suggest you don't press Henry Ruggs. Henry Ruggs can burn you. Darren Waller is a top 2, top 3 tight end. Him, George Kittle, and Travis Kelce keep trading spots up at that number 1 spot, although I think Travis Kelce's been one for a while. Josh Jacobs is a really good two-way running back, along with Kenyon Drake, along with Peyton Barber. That's another one of those extremely deep backfields, so no matter what their health situation is with the run game, I think once Las Vegas' high-flying offense gets ahead early, they can just run Denver to death. When you talk about the defense, Max Crosby is extremely disruptive on the defensive line. You could force a few ill-advised throws out of Teddy Bridgewater, who, although he has been good, has had some suspect throws. Then they play Los Angeles again. Now it's in Los Angeles with their crowd, who is finally growing. I know it's been a very common joke to say that the Los Angeles Chargers don't have a fan base. I think Los Angeles takes care of business here once again. And then they wrap it up against Kansas City, who, at least with how they're playing right now, probably won't have any bye clinched unless they run the table. So Kansas City's going to have all their starters in if everything stands, and that will get ugly as well. And there you have it. The Broncos are 3-14. If you've made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching the entire thing. We have been getting so many subscribers, so many likes, so many views, so much support lately. So if you've been coming back repeatedly, I appreciate you so much. You're going to be getting even more and even better content in return. As mentioned before, make sure you check out the podcast, our social medias. All of that is in the description below. And in the comments section, let me know, what do you think the Broncos record is going to be? Clearly, I said 3-14, but by the end of the season, what will the Broncos do? Are they going to fall off like I say they're going to fall off? Are they going to go 3-14 like I predicted? Or will they have a different record? Will they completely turn it around? Am I even completely wrong? That's obviously possible too. Let me know in the comments. We love feedback here. And with that, that's all I have for you right here on All Sports Now.
But you know that I'm still overthinking.